Iran's reclosing of the Strait of Hormuz over the weekend saw oil prices jump once again this Monday after they had fallen Friday following an announcement that global shipping might resume. For more on how the markets are reacting, we can bring in Jameel Ahmad, chief analyst at online trading brokerage GTC. Jameel, take us through more about how the global markets have been reacting to the escalations over the weekend, especially with this ceasefire about to expire.
So essentially, investors are still left thinking whether the ceasefire is going to be extended or whether we're going to come to a conclusion of this regional conflict. And if you look at what happened at the end of last week on Wall Street particularly, you had the S&P 500 that hit new record highs. You had the Nasdaq that posted its longest running streak since 1992 and also closed at record levels. And we also had the oil price drop by 12%, all suggesting that this conflict's going to come to a conclusion. But of course, we've had some sort of escalation over the weekend, which has led to the oil price jumping around 6% early on Monday trade. So it's now coming back towards the higher $80 handle. And it comes down to two different things here, whether we have more scenes of what could be, metaphor as a modern day Pirates of the Caribbean movie scene with the Strait of Hormuz, or whether these talks are set to go ahead in Pakistan this week, and whether this ceasefire agreement either comes to a conclusion with a peace deal or whether we do actually have a deal signed over the coming days. And I think that's what investors are going to be reacting to this week overall.
And Jameel, tell us about what investors are going to be monitoring this week. Is it going to be time to watch some economic data once again, or are geopolitics still really the main concern?
Geopolitics is still the frontline driver, and for the past month, most of us have been pretty much completely ignoring all economic data releases, and that's going to remain the case for as long as we have questions that remain unanswered as to what the situation is with the United States and Iran. And it comes down to, if we do have a ceasefire agreement that actually is permanent and leads to a peace deal, then we will start returning to economic data at some point. But at the moment, we are very much watching geopolitics. And the reason for this is because we all know that the world economy is being impacted by what's happened. But the economic data that we've seen so far is just a small preview of what it could be if the Strait of Hormuz remains closed beyond 1 month. Of course, we are stretching 1 month already. And if this regional tensions remain ongoing, then pretty much the economic data is going to get worse anyway, which so investors are not completely ignoring it for now, but they're not pricing in the weakest economic output because we're watching whether there's going to be another escalation or whether there's going to be a peace deal when it comes to the geopolitical tensions.
All right, Jameel, thank you so much for bringing us the latest reaction on events from the markets. That's Jameel Ahmad, Chief Analyst at online trading brokerage GTC.